what we can learn from Hannah's prayer, and the posture we need as Christians today. The story of Hannah in 1 Samuel is a timeless lesson on faith, perseverance, and surrender to God. Her journey teaches us profound truths about prayer and the posture we as Christians should adopt in today's world. 1. The power of honest prayer. Hannah's prayer was raw, heartfelt, and vulnerable. She didn't try to mask her pain or pretend everything was fine. She poured out her anguish before the Lord, demonstrating that God invites us to come to Him as we are. In today's world, it's easy to fall into the trap of surface-level faith, offering polite prayers while hiding our true struggles. Hannah shows us that God desires honesty. As Christians, we should come before Him with authenticity, laying our burdens at His feet, knowing He cares deeply about our needs. 2. Trusting God's timing. Hannah prayed fervently and waited patiently. She didn't know when or how God would answer her prayer, but she trusted Him. This kind of trust is difficult in a culture that values instant gratification. As Christians, we must remember that God's timing is perfect. When prayers seem unanswered, it doesn't mean God isn't working. Like Hannah, we need to trust that He is weaving together a plan far greater than we can imagine, even in the waiting season. 3. The posture of surrender and spiritual approach. Hannah's prayer was not just about asking, it was about surrendering. She vowed that if God gave her a son, she would dedicate him to the Lord's service. This act of surrender shows us that prayer is not about bending God's will to ours, but aligning our desires with His purposes. Notably, Hannah also did not respond in a fleshly way to her challenges. Despite the ridicule and provocation she faced from Peninnah, she didn't lash out, seek revenge, or allow bitterness to take root. Instead, she took a spiritual approach by bringing her pain and struggles directly to the Lord in prayer. This is a critical lesson for Christians today. In a world that often encourages us to react emotionally or defend ourselves through worldly means, we are called to respond in a Christ-like manner. Like Hannah, we should take our burdens and conflicts to God, trusting Him to bring resolution in His way and time. 4. Responding with gratitude. When God answered her prayer, Hannah didn't cling to Samuel. She followed through on her promise and gave him back to the Lord. Furthermore, she responded with praise, offering a beautiful prayer of thanksgiving in 1 Samuel 2. As Christians, we can learn to cultivate a heart of gratitude. Instead of focusing solely on what we lack, we should thank God for His faithfulness and celebrate His goodness in our lives, even in small ways. Gratitude shifts our focus from ourselves to God and strengthens our faith. The posture Christians need today. In a world filled with distractions, doubts, and challenges, we can take several lessons from Hannah's example. 1. Be persistent in prayer. Like Hannah, we should never stop bringing our needs to God, no matter how long the wait. 2. Embrace humility. Prayer requires us to acknowledge our dependence on God and let go of pride. 3. Stay faithful under pressure. Even when ridiculed, as Hannah was by Peninnah, she didn't retaliate or lose hope. Instead, she kept her focus on God and responded spiritually rather than in the flesh. 4. Live with surrender and trust. We are called to trust God's sovereignty and let Him work through every aspect of our lives. Conclusion. Hannah's story is a powerful reminder of what God can do through a life of prayer, faith, and surrender. As Christians today, we need to adopt the same posture of humility, trust, and gratitude. In doing so, we become living testimonies of God's faithfulness, inspiring others to seek Him and trust in His perfect plan. Let us, like Hannah, pour out our hearts to God, trust Him fully, and glorify Him with the blessings He gives us.